The purpose of meditation is not merely to get some benefits of stress release or some benefits of dealing with NCDs and others. The goal of life, as it said in the Upanishads, is dukkha nivrittihi, sukha praptihi. To get more and more happiness, more and more bliss, and to release all the dukkha. Dukkha in various forms. Everything has to be completely removed. And we should get more and more happiness. Ultimately, according to Patanjali, it's called Kaivalya. In Vedanta, it's called as the moksha. You have to go back to your original source. What is that? The state, pure consciousness. And that is the state beyond space, time, causation. It is beyond mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. No? And it is a state of infinite knowledge, infinite power, infinite freedom, infinite bliss. That's our original state. So Vivekananda called it as divinity. He said, each soul is potentially divine. The goal of life is to manifest that divinity. Therefore, our goal is to bring the tremendous amount of bliss, knowledge, freedom, and knowledge to our lives. How to do that? Swami Vivekananda has given the methods to do that. That is, by work or worship, philosophy or psychic control, by 1, 2, 3, or all of these and be free, he said. You can work with the intellect in the Gnana Yoga or the philosophy. Psychic control, gaining control and mastery over the willpower, gaining mastery over the mind, and get to the highest level of Kaivalya. Or work with the emotions, gain mastery over the emotions by Bhakti Yoga, or convert every action into a yoga. That's Karma Yoga. Many times I used to wonder, is it possible that we convert every action into a yoga? Sitting, standing, eating, drinking, urinating, excreting, everything can be yoga. How is it possible? So Krishna Bhagavan says, yes, it is possible. Pashyan, Shunvan, Sprishan, Digran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swatman, Shosan, Pralapan, Visrujan, Grunhan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi, Indriyan, Indriyartheshu, Vartanta Yati Dharayan. Beautifully brings out every action. Pashyan, Shunvan, Sprishan, seeing, hearing, talking, eating, walking, doing every activity, urinating, excreting, everything can be yoga. This is what we were discussing with Patriji, that our meditation should be part of life. It should become a way of life. And meditation to be brought into all aspects of life. And that is the way of life that we have to do. In the encounter, what is going to happen? Bring happier day by day, day by day. And remove all the stresses, tensions, and miseries and bondages with which you are bound. Moksha means absolute freedom. Freedom from all bondages, limitations that we have. What are the bondages we have? You look at the bondage of the mind. Goes on thinking and thinking and thinking. Can we overcome this bondage of thinking? Can we stay in that silence as long as we want? When we do the anapana, the mind should become silent, calm, peaceful. How long can you do? Then bondage of emotions. We are drawn by asuri sampad and daivi sampad. That is anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, infatuation, arrogance. Can we overcome all these bondages? And similarly, excitement, happiness and others. Can we overcome this and go to the highest state of bliss? Then bondage of the intellect. That is limited dimension, our avidya and limitedness, smallness, our limited knowledge that we have, and the distorted knowledge that we have, the wrong knowledge that we have. Can you overcome all this bondage of the intellect? Can you overcome all these bondages? Finally, the bondage of the body. The body has to be fed with the food, shelter, clothing, everything. Can you overcome this thing? Can you overcome the bondage of gravitation? Can you overcome the bondage of this life? Finally, the bondage of life and death. That is the ultimate goal of moksha that our ancient masters thought. That's the highest level of infinite knowledge, freedom and others. And that is the goal to which meditation leads. You know. So as Dr. Manjunath was mentioning, you know, meditation is a generalized term, but in technical term, Patanjali defined it as a dhyana. You know. And even dharana also can be considered as a meditation. When we were analyzing the large number of meditation techniques that have been compiled and brought in the form of book by the Moraji Deshani Institute of Yoga, you know, we found nearly 120 types of meditations which people have been using. And they are all very popular. Many of the very popular things like transcendental meditation, vipassana meditation, anapana, all this meditation technique. We had 3 doctoral programs our people did to analyze what are the key features. Are there some common factors between these 2 types of things, all these 120 meditations, are there some common factors? Finally, after the deep analysis of the literary research that they did and also the experimental, they found there are essentially 2 types of meditation. One is the dharana type, another is the dhyana. You know. What is this dharana and dhyana in meditation dimension that we have to understand? You know that mind is the one which we need to gain control over. Patanjali says, Chitta Vritti Nirodha is yoga. Yoga is to gain control and mastery over the mind. You know? And in this control and mastery over the mind, there are 2 aspects, you know, that has been incorporated into all aspects of Ashtanga Yoga. That is, to make the mind very fast, faster mind, quicker mind, brilliant mind, intelligent mind, and creative mind, faster, 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 is one aspect of the mind. This we are all developing. In our entire education system we are doing. But there is a second dimension, that is calming down the mind, silencing the mind, tranquilizing the mind, going deeper and deeper into silence and go to the highest level. Unfortunately, the second dimension has been grossly neglected. We are only developing wonderfully the first thing. The whole education system is geared to develop the first thing dimension. You know. And in this process, of course, we now were able to overcome the haphazardness of the mind by developing the power of concentration. Vikshipta is the first level. The grossest mind is the monkey mind, which we are all familiar. You know. So Patanjali says the first thing you have to overcome this haphazardness of the vikshiptata has to be removed, and we develop the ekagrata. What is the difference between this random mind and the concentration mind? In the monkey mind, we jump from one subject to another. There are multiple thoughts, but no thoughts are connected with one another. I am thinking, and suddenly you are hearing this, your mind goes, oh, when is it going to end? And what is the next tea break that we have? Or in the house somebody is happening, and somebody is in the hospital. And today I heard that there was a wonderful inauguration by Prime Minister. And what a wonderful thing that has happened in the new ministry, jumping from one subject to another. This is the monkey mind. This is the vikshipta, Patanjali calls. From there, you bring the mind to a single subject. We are now talking about the Raja Yoga aspect or the meditation aspect. Go on seeing that every thought is connected with one another. There are multiple thoughts in both vikshiptata and ekagrata. But the difference in ekagrata, in concentration, every thought is connected to one another. Therefore, the subject, from multiple subjects, we move to a single subject in concentration. And in concentration, there is the speeding up of the thoughts. Higher the speed of the mind, better is the concentration. Supposing you read 10 pages an hour, and he reads 20 pages an hour, and he reads 50 pages an hour, and understanding equally. Who is the higher concentration? Naturally, a person. Therefore, in concentration, there is speeding up of the mind, faster mind, faster mind. Faster the mind, better is the concentration dimension. That's where normally we start in our entire education system. But then comes to the next level, from multiple thoughts to a single thought. You know? And that is what Patanjali says as dharana, focusing up the mind. That is the dimension that comes up from concentration to the next level. Normally, in our normal education, it is not there. But it has been there in our education system in Gurukula, in the Dhanurvidya. You know, they were all meant to develop this power of dharana. You know, in dharana, you had to fix the mind on a single thought. Desha bandhaha chittasya dharana, as Patanjali puts it. You fix all the thoughts all this into a single thought, from multiple thought to a single thought. So the classic example that we hear in Mahabharata, Dronacharya was the great teacher, and he had been teaching this Dhanurvidya to all the people. And he used to have normal tests. In one of the tests, he calls all the people, okay, let me see how much you have developed. What is the test? Very, very tall tree. He had put a parrot, and he says what you have to do, you have to stand 300 meters away, and you have to hit. What you have to hit? Not just the parrot, not just the eye, the eyeball of the parrot, the pupil, the center point of the pupil of the eyeball of the eye of the parrot you have to hit. Okay, understood? Everybody said, okay, come on, let's go. So one by one they come, and there comes the Dushasana, and okay, he's ready to hit. What are you seeing? Why, Acharya ji, I'm not blind, I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing the tree, I'm seeing the parrot, I'm seeing the eye, everything I'm seeing. Go back, you can't do that. Then comes Duryodhana. What are you seeing? I'm not seeing the tree, but I'm seeing the parrot. But I see the eye and everything I'm seeing. No. Then comes Bhima. What are you seeing? I'm seeing just the eye of the parrot, and the eyeball of the parrot, and the pupil, and the center point. Shall I hit? No, go. Then comes Yudhishthira, the Dharmaraja. What are you seeing? Sir, I still see the pupil and the center point. I need some more training, isn't it? Yes, go. Finally, when Arjuna comes, what are you seeing? You say there is a tree, there is a parrot, there is the eye, etc., etc. I don't see anything. I see only that point, which you say is the center point of the pupil, of the eyeball, of the eye, of the parrot, on the tree. Go ahead, hit. This is called dharana. Fixing the one in a single thought. You can fix the eye on anything. Here, for example, you can fix the mind on 2025, only that. Then, when you fix the thing on 2025, only this thing. You should not see anything else. Only 2025 you see, and nothing else if you see, then you have the dharana on 2025. This is the focusing of the mind. In the Dhanurvidya, this is the key. Now in the shooting, people have to do this thing. That's the bullseye, center point of the bullseye. You have to fix the mind on that. This is called focusing of the mind. What happens? All your energy is focused on a single point. All the energy gets focused on that single point. And this is called dharana. Desha bandha chittasya dharana, as Patanjali says. So the mind has to be fixed on that single thought. And all the energy gets focused on a single thought. And therefore the thought becomes very, very powerful. Just like in a lens, you put it in a sunshine and put a paper, suitably adjust. The whole paper burns. Why? The whole incident energy on the lens comes and gets focused onto the single point. Then it burns, temperature increases. This is the principle of laser. Light amplification by stimulated electron radiation. What happens? It gets distributed and the energy goes on getting to the smaller point, goes into such small microscopic area, and the energy becomes very long, very, very strong. Therefore, it can burn up the laser. That's the dimension that occurs in dharana. Then comes the next level. Why next level? You cannot do dharana for long. If you start doing dharana, even for 1 minute, you start getting the pain here. Many people come and say that I have been doing dharana, started getting pain here and there, here, there. They are not doing dharana. They are doing dharana, they are not doing dhyana. Dhyana is next step to dharana, in which effortless dharana is dhyana. There is the dharana that is done with ease, with effortlessness. And the mind slows down further. Slowing down. The speed involved in the dharana is continuing. That is bringing the intensity. In dhyana, that is withdrawn. There is a process of what is called defocusing. Therefore, there is the effortlessness, the mind slows down further, metabolic rate starts coming down in dhyana, and when you start doing that, normally what happens? Go to sleep. No sleep, sir. You must keep awake, awareness. That is wakefulness. And when you go to deeper thing, the mind expands. And as Patanjali says, the whole mind should expand. Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. Dhyana is defined by Patanjali as effortless ease in fixing the mind on a single thought for longer and longer duration. You do that. So what characterizes dhyana is a single thought, effortlessness, slowness, wakefulness, and expansiveness. If these 4 dimensions are there, it is called dhyana according to Patanjali. You can do it sitting, you can do standing, you can do in walking, you can do in anything, you can have the dhyana done. You are doing all your actions, you can have the dhyana dimension. Then becomes a life of dhyana that comes up there. Then is at the end, at the 7th thing of Patanjali. That leads us to what we call samadhi. The goal of dhyana, according to Patanjali, is the samadhi. Samyak adhiyate iti samadhi. What is that samadhi? In all our transactions, there are trifold process. Seer, seen, and the process of seeing. You are eating, you are there, you are taking the food, and the process of eating. Even in meditation, there is a trifold process. The meditator, meditated, and the process of meditation. 3 things are there. This is a trifold process. When all the 3 things merge together, it becomes samadhi. Samyak adhiyate iti samadhi. Tadeva arthamatra nirbhasa swarupa shunyamiva samadhi. As if you lost yourself. You become one of the things, the whole thing. That's called samadhi. In samadhi, there is a quantum jump to a higher level of consciousness. The mind goes from the grosser level to a higher level. We all work with a particular thing, area of our work, and when you expand it to the next level, there is a jump. A similar thing is in the physical world. In the physical world, the electrons are filling down the nucleus continuously. You apply certain amount of energy. When it absorbs certain amount of energy, it jumps into the next orbit. That's called a quantum jump. It moves from one orbit to the higher orbit. The amount of energy that you have to give is measured by what we call h nu. It jumps from one to another. Similar things happen here. When the mind is given certain amount of energy, then it jumps to the higher level. So when you do the dhyana for longer and longer duration, then a stage will come, your mind jumps into the higher level. What is the result of that higher jump? Higher bliss, higher knowledge, higher power, higher freedom. You are moving towards the ultimate goal of kaivalya or the moksha. That tremendous amount of happiness comes up and the bliss jumps up. And Upanishad talk about how much of thing bliss comes to, how much of happiness that comes can be measured. And it said, if you have the maximum happiness through the sense pleasure, let's say that's 1 unit of happiness. The Upanishad in the Ananda Mimamsa, they measure. How can you measure anything? What is the way of measuring? If I want to know what is the length of this thing, I must first define 1 meter. This particular length is called 1 meter. All of us accepted this 1 meter. Then you can do that. This is about 20 meters long. You can measure. Similarly, time, 1 second, 1 movement. Similarly, you can move into time. To measure anything, you must define 1 unit. Oh, if you want to measure happiness, then you have to define 1 unit of happiness. So interestingly, I was very fascinated to know how beautifully the unit of happiness is meant. What it says, yuva syat sadhu yuvadhyayakaha ashishto dradishto balishtaha tasya iyam prithvi vittasya purna syat sayeko manusha anandaha. Said, imagine a wonderfully youthful person. He's full of energy, full of vitality, and he has great zeal to enjoy the life to the maximum. And he is not a weakling, and he can maybe eat any amount of this thing. I had one of my friends, he's very fond of gulab jamun. His capacity was 40 gulab jamun, and such capacity. So he has all the things, all sense pleasures is available. What? Iyam prithvi sarvavityasya purnasyat. This entire world is full of all things that he wants. He is not a billionaire, he is a millionaire, everything. He has everything he wants, trillionaire. Everything is available. All comfort levels he has. And you can imagine how much is the happiness that he can get. That is called 1 unit of Manusha Ananda. Then he says, Teje shatam manusha anandaha sayeko manusya gandharvana anandaha. The first jump of samadhi is from the manusha thing to the manusya gandharva level. That moving from annamaya kosha to the pranamaya kosha, first level. Then 100 folds of this manusya ananda is got by first jump into the samadhi 100 times more. You know? Is it the end? Many people think that samadhi prescribed by Patanjali is the end. No. He defines 8 types of samadhi there. And the end is Kaivalya. Kaivalya is infinity. Infinite bliss, infinite knowledge, infinite freedom, infinite bliss. So 8 types of samadhi. Similarly, in Upanishads, we have the Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. You know, from the Manusya Gandharva, we have the Deva Gandharva, then Pitranam, Chiraloka Lokanam Anandaha, all these things start going. Devanam Anandaha, then Brihaspati Anandaha, finally Brahmana Ananda. Sayeko Brahmana Ananda. What is it? It becomes 10 to the power of 20 times. That is the Brahmana Ananda. And correspondingly, all the powers have increased. The age has increased. The power has increased. And that is the goal that has been put on Anandamaya Kosha. And even Anandamaya Kosha is limited. Though very, very large, infinite almost, 10 to the power of 20. But beyond that is pure consciousness that's infinite. You know? So that ultimate reality is pure consciousness. And that's the state of infinite bliss, infinite knowledge, infinite freedom, infinite bliss. You know? So that is our original state. Shankara says it's our original state. Original state of all of us. Swami Vivekananda called it as divinity. You may call it as pure consciousness. You may call it as the moksha, kaivalya. Different terms are here. Probably Buddha called it as nirvana. That's our original state. The goal of life is to expand ourselves from our normal level to become great, super, divine human beings and reach that ultimate divinity itself. In the conventional thing, yoga means the Jivatma merging with the Paramatma. Jivatma, as individuals we're expanding to that ultimate reality. That's the goal. And the goal of life, Swami Vivekananda said, is to manifest that divinity day by day. That's where meditation comes into picture. And therefore, in the meditation research that we did, there are 2 types of meditation technique. One is dharana related, another is the dhyana related. In the dhyana related, there's the higher dimension. In the dhyana related, there's the focusing dimension. There's the speed associated with it. And in the other thing you have, for example, vipassana meditation comes under the dharana type because there is also the effort involved in that continuously and the effort you have to put to see that. You know. Pathology's speciality is to see how this can be transformed into the dhyana type. That when you do the anapana, you make it effortless. Initially start observing the breathing and make it effortless. Start going deeper and deeper into the dimension and start feeling the breath and make this a lifestyle. Very, very simple. At the same time, you have to go. You know. So if you say, control the mind, stay in a single thought, very difficult. Instead of that, breathing. Just observe the breathing. And it works wonders. And that's what he has been doing so wonderfully. And I congratulate the global conference on this meditation leaders organized by Chandra and the whole team. And because of this, the anapana has started increasing everywhere all over with effortless ease. Effortless ease should come up. Correspondingly, the brain changes also will change. As neural correlates of Manjunath has been talking about, there are going to be the changes that occur at the functional level as also at the deeper structural level. When you start doing the meditation for longer and longer duration, then there is going to be a change in the structure of the brain itself. The white matter of the brain is going to change, and that's what he was able to show. First thing that happens is the functioning of the brain starts improving. Your memory will increase, IQ will increase, EQ will increase. All this tremendous amount of research has been done by Maharishi Yogi. And he has published nearly 400 to 500 research papers. And in that, with the Harvard University, we started working together in 1973 onwards. In about 10 years, there were a large number of research papers that were published, and we worked on this dimension. showing that calmness of the mind, silencing of the mind, tranquilizing of the mind. The dhyana aspect is very, very necessary. In education system, this has to be brought. Unfortunately, this was not brought. It was removed. And Macaulay, in our country, when he came, he removed this dimension. Earlier in our Gurukula, we used to have that. Children were made to sit nicely, and they should sit continuously and stay in that silence, in that calmness of the mind, in the dhyana sthiti. But when Macaulay came, he said, "Hey, don't do that. Come on, get up, and be active." I was thinking, why did he do that? Not only in India, all over the world. Because he thought of only two states of mind. One state of mind is a lazy mind, lethargic mind, silent mind, calm mind, useless mind, and work. Another is very active mind, faster mind, brilliant mind, intelligent mind, brilliant mind, creative mind. So when his people used to sit in quietly, calmness in meditation and other, he thought it's laziness. So come on, don't be lazy. This continued for such a long period, for several decades. Only when Maharishi came, I remember first time I met him in 1968, and we were discussing about this dimension, how this dhyana portion has to be brought, show that it's not two states of mind, there are three states of mind. And therefore, we started working on that thing. How to bring it? It's all through evidence-based. Unless we bring the evidence-based, people will not accept. How to do that? He said, yes, should go to United States and bring it from there. Even Swami Vivekananda has to go there and bring this Upanishad dimension from the West, because whatever comes from the West is best, is our mindset. Whatever is there in the East is just worse. So we said, okay, we'll bring it from Harvard, and Dr. Benson joined hands, and then with Benson, we started working on that thing. Number of research papers started publishing, and it became the order of the day. Then it was made clear that silence is not laziness. It is not mental retardation. It is a state much higher than the Rajasic mind, Tamasic mind, Rajasic mind, and Sattvic mind, and going beyond. And that's how meditation research took a big shape, and Patraji also started working in this thing, and he added the new dimension as to how the pyramid energy can be brought into the dimension, to see that it can be adding dimension to normal, voluntary changes and control over the mind. It can add dimension. So we started working to see whether the energy is changed in the pyramid. Some people staying in the meditation in the pyramid valley, staying outside and doing the randomized control trial. We have started doing that thing, and our Chandra, and we have started working on this dimension and other. That's how things have started growing, and great contribution of Patraji, and the legacy has been continued. This is what I always appreciate. Somebody who are very great, and then they leave, and there should be legacy that should be continued. And thanks to Chandra and his team who are continuing this thing and developing further way forward. From dhyana to samadhi. That's what I was discussing with him, that I want people who have been doing meditation for a long time, who are able to sit in meditation for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Such people who are there in the meditation group, we want to take and see what are the correlates of the samadhi. That's the next step forward. People, they have done a lot of research in meditation. No need to do further meditation in this thing, because neural correlates and several things, fMRI studies, we have done evoked potential, we have 5 people who have done doctoral programs, and we have also done a lot of things. We have to now go to the next step of the samadhi. What are the correlates of samadhi? Just like the alpha waves in meditation were important, which were brought forth by Maharishi. Similarly, in samadhi, what is going to happen? Whether it is the neural correlates or it is the higher dimension, what are the things that happen? These are the things that we have to track, and this is our advanced research center that we have set up in our university, and I welcome all your team who have been practicing. I know only in the group, Patri's group, there are people who have been practicing for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and people who have been able to sit for long duration. And such people can be taken and seen that we have to take this research in this dimension. That's the way forward. Therefore, Chandra, we are collaborating to see that we go forward in this direction and develop new correlates. That's the breakthrough research that is needed Just like that was a breakthrough research in meditation, there is a breakthrough research that's needed in samadhi. And what is the amount of bliss as had been told in this thing? Can we measure the bliss here, measure there, and see how it can be done? And what are the extrasensory perceptions people get? What are the higher powers they get? Whether they can get into levitation, then they can do this thing. These are some of the things Maharshi had started. We have to do that. And we have our dear Shukdev, who has come from Germany, one of the top leaders in Europe, and he has the biggest yoga organization, a great person who has been able to do a lot of meditation research also, and he has the biggest ashram, and then he has spread all over Europe. And we have been very happy that we are associated with him quite some time, and he is organizing similar thing. I requested him to come here, and thanks to Chandraji, he has come here. I want to introduce him as one of the great personalities, a celebrity, almost I would say, and his organization in Germany is doing a phenomenal work. And we have such many other people who have come also. They are going to be introduced. Over to you for introduction next steps.
For more details about Project Excellence, write to us at excellence@buddhaceo.org.